Episode number 32, The Bellows, Leaving the Business.
All right, cut to edge of stage. Great. All right, color frost.
Check. 1, 2, 3. Check.
Stand by, please. House to half, house out, letting cues 1 through 10, down cues 1 through 10.
And welcome back to The Title Block, a podcast about Canadian theatre designers, their history, and their craft. And I'm your very relaxed host, Michael Kruse. I've just come off holidays for 3 weeks, and I'm finishing them up by getting this Bellows podcast out to you today. This episode is another presentation of The Bellows, a monthly informal panel discussion about topics germane to working and producing theatre. This time, something very pertinent to my life, leaving the business. In 2004, I was getting antsy with my life in theatre. My career was going well, working across the country, doing interesting and what I felt was important work, but something was missing. The interesting bit of the work, the really creative portion, was quickly becoming, well, really the only thing that was interesting, and it was shrinking each production. As a letting designer, you get to do many shows a year at pace upwards of 15 or 20 designs, really just to pay the bills, with other smaller one-off gigs. So you get to see and solve many problems, many more than, let's say, a director who would do 3 shows a year, an actor would do 4 or 5 shows a year, and so on. So after a while, I found these productions. I mean, I love the people in theater, love them. That's the thing that I think makes theater for me really special. But I found the shows and the work to be a bit tedious. Solving the same problems over and again, reinventing the wheel, being led down the garden path by people who thought they had a great idea when you knew, and the letting designers out there will know what I'm talking about, when you knew you were going to end up in the weeds. So I needed new challenges. At 10 years in, I went back to school to become a paramedic, and I've been working full-time since 2007. Now, my love of theatre remains to this day, though it is tempered by the frustration of working in an industry that the majority of the public sees, well, really, as a hobby, and the government treats as a special interest, and not much more than a hobby, if you've seen the budgets lately, and along with other arts, a distraction rather than a backbone of Canadian culture. When you look at the way the arts are supported in the US, the UK, Germany, and other similar cultures, it becomes immediately obvious where the problems lie. Canada does not support its arts, and we treat it as such. And it's not the government's fault necessarily. Canadians themselves, I think, don't approach the arts with the same kind of fervor. And certainly theater is becoming more jeopardized by this thought. I'll give you an example. This week I saw what really could be described as a tour de force of theater. It was a one-man show that I saw at a company I won't mention. Those of you who know what the show is and have seen it will know what it is, but it's not important. The production value was very high. It incorporated projections. It had great lighting, and it was well crafted. It was also done improv. There were certain landmarks in that kind of show. You need to have them to land the show correctly. But every night was different because there were so many stories. The actor would choose them during the production, and it was really quite magical. At the end of what was quite a remarkable ending to Act 1 behind me, I heard a member of the audience turn to her friend and say, "How does he remember all those lines?" And I thought, that's your bar? That's the level, that's what your expectation is. Well, I hope they remember all their lines. Now, I worked, as coming up in theater, I worked in amateur theater a lot. That was my life in high school. And I loved it. And you're a part of the community, and it's well supported. Many communities across Canada have in fact, longer than professional theater in Canada, have a much longer tradition of amateur theater. And there, I mean, if you're an amateur, remembering your lines, that's an important thing. But come on, this is professional theater. Everyone remembers their lines. That's not the goal of theater. It's telling a compelling story that speaks to something, speaks to your soul, and comments maybe on society, makes you think a bit differently, gives you a catharsis at the end of it. Those are the goals of professional theater. And if the public's expectation is, well, how did that guy remember all those lines? How do we expect to demand the support that we need to survive, let alone thrive? So it's with that kind of headspace. I know it's dark. We're here celebrating theater in Canada, but there is a problem that we need to face, and we better solve it if Canadian theater is going to survive. So here at the Bellows, on this episode of the Title Block, we present former stage manager Maria Costa, a personal friend and a lovely person. Former wardrobe technician. We use a lot of diminutives for wardrobe workers, wardrobe ladies, wardrobe sewers. She's a wardrobe technician. She was a remarkable one. Michelle Bailey, who's no longer in the business, and former arts administrator Katie Pounder, to talk about their own transitions from theater into what many of us refer to as the real world. And if you are able, as you think of this, go to patreon.com to support the Title Block podcast. I can't wait to share with you my conversations with some wonderful designers, including Martha Mann, who I spoke with several months ago about this problem of the amateur theater tradition melding with professional theater in Canada. And if you want to support that, please consider throwing us a couple bucks an episode. That's all it takes, really. It would really help. Now, I don't get a lot of mail, but please, if you have any comments about the show, forward them to thetitleBlock@gmail.com or contact us through Facebook or Twitter. It'd be great to hear from you. Remember, the show notes are available either on your podcasting device or at the website at thetitleBlock.com. And now, some thoughts from the Bellows, led by moderator Kevin Hutson, on leaving the business.
Head technician in the backspace, just over there, why I'm pointing that way. The Bellows is also Mr. Kevin Hutson, who is the head carpenter. Sure. I know things at Tarragon, and the lovely Pip Bradford, who is also not here, and I wish I could say I was representing her, but nobody can represent Pip Bradford. So the next thing is, what is the Bellows? I think most of you have been here before. For those of you who haven't, the Bellows is a monthly event based around teaching you everything that you didn't necessarily learn at theater school. So this evening is something that they almost certainly do not talk about at theater school, as they are trying to get you started in the industry. But anyway, that's for a little bit later. After the panel, which is what we're going to start with, Kevin will moderate, ask our lovely panelists a few questions, and then we will move on to a bit of a mixer afterwards. If you have further questions for the panelists or just want to talk amongst yourselves about what you've learned, hang around, have a drink, meet new people, talk to old people, old friends, carry on about your lives. Great. So the thank yous I have to read from my phone. My apologies if I don't pronounce these properly. The Bellows would like to thank and acknowledge the traditional keepers of this land, who are the Mississaugas of New Credit, the Anishinaabeg people, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat. They'd also like to thank TPM, everybody on the panel, Title Block, who, for anybody who doesn't know, this is going to be a podcast on thetitleBlock.com, so do check that out. If they say something up there and you don't have a chance to make a mental note of it, you can check it out on thetitleBlock.com. Thank you to Steam Whistle for having beer in the fridge, which is $4. So for anybody who didn't know, $4 Steam Whistle. Thank you all for being here. I know it was a little bit late notice, and thank you for continuing to support the Bellows. Tip your bartender this evening. The lovely Jared is here, and he is well deserving of your tips. I have been told to explain that there are 3 upcoming panels. July 18th is about the beer economy, which is pretty exciting. I'm sure you all know what that is if you've been here before. August 15th is getting started in design, and September 19th is way away, but it's about fees and contracts. So without further ado, Kevin Hutson.
Thanks very much. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. This panel is pretty important to me because I keep trying to escape the industry but failing pretty spectacularly. So beyond just being an excuse to talk to my friends, it's who I haven't seen in a while, it's a really good way of comforting each other on how transferable your skills are. Because I know it's difficult to explain to a potential employer who doesn't understand what you do. It's probably difficult enough to explain to your family. But all the skills you're building through these things are super transferable and will serve you very well wherever you end up. I went through a lot of permutations before I got to theater, and I keep seeing paths to get me out. And even though I've not escaped yet, it's comforting to know that there are other places to go, people to meet, and things to do. So without further ado, on my left, who are you and what do you do?
I am Maria Costa, and I'm a human being who works as an administrative coordinator at a company that deals with radiation safety.
That's amazing.
How about that? Yeah.
I'm Michelle Bailey. I am the owner-operator of Barkbusters Hamilton Niagara, which is a dog training company that deals with in-home dog training and behavioral therapy for problem dogs.
I'm Katie Pounder, and full disclosure, as of today, I am the Associate Director of Student Services at Pearson Higher Learning Services, Higher Learning Education, which is it's a really large corporation, but my sort of section of it that I'm working with is in student retention for all basically a bunch of online learning programs for universities in the States and throughout North America.
So for everybody who's not me, what did you do and how did I know you? How do I get to know you?
Well, for about 20 years, I worked primarily as a stage manager. I started, as a dresser, apprentice, whatever, and then worked as a stage manager, and then, probably about 6 years before I transitioned, I worked at Humber College a lot and worked as a supervisor. And
amazing. Yeah.
Post-graduation, I pretended I was a lighting technician and a stage manager for a while, and then I settled into a pretty solid wardrobe career for a while. You and I met when you showed up in my wardrobe shop and demanded I teach you how to sew at Tarragon Theatre.
That's how I broke the ice with all the wardrobe ladies?
That's how that happened.
Yeah.
I started my arts admin career in just over 10 years ago at Young People's Theatre. And then I actually came here to Passmarais for 2 seasons, which is where I met you. Mm-hmm. You are one of our most trusty carpenters downstairs. Yeah. And for the last 2 years, I've been at Tapestry Opera as their general manager. And up until, well, there's a bit of crossover, so I'm still kind of both. But just left that right away.
Fantastic. So, now that you're gone, looking back on it, what got you into theater in the first place? What made you decide that theater was the thing for you?
I didn't answer part of your last question. We met, I think, at the Tarragon Extra Space in the wee little booth. But
in that tiny, sweaty, gross booth.
I think in high school, I was like, I'm going to become a psychologist. And then I was in theater, and I ushered, if any of you know London, Ontario, at the Grand. And it was a really exciting year. There were really cool shows, and I volunteer ushered, and I worked all the time for free, and I really liked it. And then I was asked to stage manage the Dyer Van Frank. And, it has a very sweet message, right? Ultimately, despite everything she's going through, she believes that people are really good at heart. And I thought, this is awesome. I want to do this forever. And so then I went to theater school, and then it felt like I did it forever. And here I am.
Amazing.
What got me into theater? I think it was in high school. I saw a production of something big. And I remember looking at it going, oh, I want to do this. And then I think I got involved in drama club and ended up kissing my crush on stage that year and went, oh shit, I can do this?
Seal the deal.
Yeah, let's do this. So then I went to school for it. I went into acting first and then decided, F this. I can't really make a career out of being an actor. So I went into technical theater and here I am.
Amazing.
Here I was.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be a veterinarian, so I had all maths and sciences. And then I started, I took drama class, and I actually was only going to take it for 1 year, and then the next year I was signed up for auto shop, and then was scared, the teacher scared the crap out of me, and my drama teacher was like, why aren't you in my class? And so that sort of cemented that. And then after some Sears Drama Festival time, and by the time I got to OAC, I was like, no, I want to be in theater. And I never thought, I enjoyed acting, but I never thought that I wanted to necessarily be on stage or even directing, but I always wanted to learn more about it and either teach or in some other facet.
Right on. So I'm hearing like the theater bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It bit.
That's awesome. I remember Sears Drama Festival. I had a great time at Sears Drama Festival. I actually won an award for wearing a dress on stage and playing a woman.
Nice.
Yeah, Mrs. Drudge was an old English woman.
Wonderful.
That's the only time in your
Yeah.
life, though, right?
That was the only time I won an award.
Oh.
There's still time.
For sure. Yeah. And so just the bug of it, is that what kept you in theater for a while? Or like what keeps you going to do those things? Like what was the tie that you built there? I mean, for me, I really like there's something about being part of a team that's all pulling towards one goal, something about really strict deadlines that I actually really like. Like the sort of camaraderie you get from an approaching opening night is a really fascinating environment that I really like.
I think for me it was the allure of doing something and meeting people that most people don't get to meet.
Right.
Seeing some famous people in their underwear. Like that's what kept me going.
Yeah. It both was the inspiring thing, and I went to McMaster, which was a school that was not specifically in one direction, which is what I liked about it. And I thought I wanted to go to teachers college. And I actually applied to arts admin school as a backup in case I didn't get into teachers college.
Right.
And I ended up getting in. I was going to travel and go to Australia. And then I had sort of met the people at Humber College and was just going, we're like, well, I should see what this is because I applied. And then when I got there, I was like, I found my people. It was really weird because it's like admin, but I had been in between school. I had taken some time off and was processing mortgage applications and doing some terrible things that made me like really not want to do anything corporate whatsoever. Not that it's terrible, but the financial industry is depressing if you care about human beings, which I do. And so, it ended up as being a backup and then ended up sort of being the way. And if I realized, I was like, oh, I can actually use my theater degree and have a job, and that I'm using it for, which was really lovely. So,
Right. That's great.
I think I was quite fortunate when I was finishing up school. I had an instructor who was like, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to apply here, you need to apply here, you need to apply here, you need to mention me here, you need to mention this person here. And she was like on me. And so my first job at a theater school was, rest in peace, Theatre Plus Toronto, which I was the apprentice, and it was in rep. And I worked like all the time, like 12 hours a day for the whole summer. And, it was the first time I was making real money, and I was like so excited. And then my boss apologized to me for how little they were paying me, and I had like no idea. I was like, this is awesome. And I was living with like 1,000 people in a house, and it was totally cool. And I was meeting all these people, and then, I went to Canadian Stage, and I felt like the new it girl, right? Like I was 20-nothing, and I was getting all this work, and I was really lucky, and I was meeting like, Peter Hinton, who would come into work wearing a judge's robe every day. He was very eccentric, and I was like, these people are awesome, and like just really great actors, and just kind of knowing all these people. Like all of a sudden, I know 100 people in the city. Like it was really quite exciting, and And then, of course, eventually my luck ran out. But I do want to add that I felt like throughout the whole time that there were certain parts of stage management that I was really awesome at, and parts that I sucked at. And I kept focusing on what I sucked at, and I kept thinking, and I'd run into people who I hadn't seen in like 2 months, and they were like, "So have you left theater?" Because I would always say, "I'm out. I can't do it." And then I would get enough work that I could live, so I just kept doing it. And then I was like, okay, no, really, I'm out. And then it'd be like 10 years later, and I'm like, okay, well, no, actually, no, I really like it now. And then I would hate it again. And so, but if you work on a great project, it can really kind of keep you coasting for a while. Yeah. And then you work on the horrible one, and you're like, I can't do it anymore. And the circle continues. Yeah.
That's funny, because I think the project that you and I worked on at Tarragon was the one that like kicked me in the teeth. Like I hated that. I could not deal with that show. Body and Soul. I couldn't handle it.
Oh, I thought there was another.
I could not handle it. No, I just couldn't handle that show.
That was it. Okay.
That was the first show as a technician. I was like, had like all this pride that I was like watching the show. I was there for the people. Like I had my fingers ready. I was so ready. And that show I just read a book. I couldn't handle it. Like it was the first show where I just brought out a book.
And funnily enough, that was, I think, the second time I had done that show. And the first time, big lovin'. Like I made a shitload of money because it was a corporate gig. Yeah. And I bought myself a MacBook, and I worked with like a group of people, and it was all like we workshop forever, and they would have to tell their stories. They were older women, and they would have to tell their stories about childhood or, love, first love. And I just sat there. I just loved it. I thought, I get paid to listen to all these like real women tell their stories about innocence, and now they're older and that kind of journey. And I was digging it. And then we remounted it on our own dime, and we went to Tarragon, and the space was way tinier, and there was no corporate money, and it was much harder, I have to say. So interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I think that's what my grandmother refers to as chicken one day, feathers the next.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was the show that broke my technician self.
Oh.
It's fine. No, being a carpenter is way better. It's awesome. It's the best.
I feel responsible for
No. You were very pleasant and very professional. So how, getting to arts admin and wardrobe and stage management, did you describe it as a long path to get from your sort of theater bug to what you ended up making a living at?
I had to put in a lot of time as an intern. Well, not a lot of time, but like a really crazy, probably the craziest year of my life.
Lots of hours.
Lots of hours.
Right.
Because I didn't want to take out loans or anything again after I'd already done school. So, so I ended up waitressing almost full time, interning almost full time, and or in school almost full time, all at the same time. So that was a hard start, but because my internships were at Young People's Theatre, which was the first place I wanted to work, the first place I ever saw a play. Like, if we're actually talking about the first bite of the bug, it was like 1984, watching A Christmas Carol and coming home and being like, oh my gosh, my mother was like, yeah, I know that story. And I didn't realize it was actually a story. I just thought that this was like, they made it up on stage. So, so there was something really like compelling about just the fact that I got to be there.
Yeah. I wonder how many YPT stories there are like that, because they are for real with what they do. Yeah. They're really good at what they do.
Yeah. And that runs through the building for the most part, which was a really great first place to work.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was definitely a long road to my first full-time, like, paid gig. It takes nothing to get into wardrobe, as long as you're somebody that's willing to dress people. People are willing to let you do that, but to actually get paid for it is a struggle. And I was one of those people who refused to volunteer. Like I did a lot of really shitty underpaid gigs for a long time, and then finally molded that into some semblance of career.
Right. What was the point where you felt confident in your resume? Because that's like just settling in for me, where I can put a resume and be like,
like, I think Probably after I had a couple of TV gigs on there.
Oh, yeah.
Where I could finally say, okay, CBC hired me to do something. Like, you saw that on your television.
Yeah.
I'm for real. But even that took a while.
Mm. Well, how does it work with intern experience? Like, at what point do you, because presumably then, like, at what point do you, I don't know, I've never interned.
To be able to transfer it? It's hard. Well, and I've been on the hiring process a lot too, so
right.
I've seen people who are probably incredible future employees be totally disregarded because, they're just an intern. So you don't want to do it too long in order to be stuck on that track. But in terms, if you can actually get an internship at a place you want to work, it's the best inside track. Like I applied for one internship at YPT. I had to do 3 for school, and they got longer and more full time as it went. And they asked me to do a second one there that summer, and I ended up. There was a position opening up that was assisting the managing director and production manager. And so they actually handed me the job application and said, this is, or the posting, and said, this is coming up. We would like you to apply, which was incredible. Yeah. And so both having, specific training for a job, which was awesome and not very easy to do.
Bless you.
In all careers, especially artistic ones. But also just like I made it my mission to learn everything I could about that building and how it worked. So it wasn't even about my experience. It was about how quickly I could hit the ground running once I started. Yeah. And so I think that's what got me the job. But
so how does it work for, I guess there's an equity card involved.
Yeah.
Like, so presumably like you get X number of credits or.
Exactly.
And then
I don't know what it is now, but when I started, it was either 6 total apprentice credits, 6 in one theater, or 4 in one theater and 2 in another, or like some variation. Like if you were only going to work in one theater and get 6 credits, you could then get your card, or you could get them from a bunch of different places. And I was fortunate, like I apprenticed at Theatre Plus, and I think I got like 3 or 4 credits, and then interesting story, how the world works, I think. I can't even remember the interesting story. I was Theatre Plus, and Ray Salverda, who was the technical director there, we went after one tech night. We were at the Jersey Giant having a beer, and I can't remember. He said something that I found wrong, and so I questioned him on it, and he just laughed because he thought it was hilarious that he was getting me all riled up. And then I think he called me like a week later, and he's like, hey, our apprentice fell in love and isn't coming to Blythe. Do you want to come to Blythe? And I said, yes. And so then, I've got the timeline wrong, but whatever. So basically, Theatre Plus, and then I think I went and did some apprenticeship/dresser work at Berkeley Street with Canadian Stage. So it was like, basically, you get to be the apprentice in rehearsal for a show with Canadian Stage. And then once that's open, you get to be the dresser for the Théâtre Français show and do their laundry. And that was kind of like that. So I think I got a couple extra credits. And then that summer, I got invited to go to Blythe as an apprentice, and I went there. So I think I finished with about 10 credits, which I don't think, I probably still have some confidence issues, but at the time, I don't think I could have gone in with 6 credits feeling like, oh yeah, I'm ready to be an ASM. And then after that, at some point, I think my first ASM gig was at YPT, which was good. And then I'm not sure what my first stage management, there were basically, I would say at that point, as you start to ASM and people know you, they invite you to stage manage their fringe show or their equity co-op, right? And it is a good opportunity to kind of, pretend to be a stage manager, right? Yeah, totally. And then before you know it, you've crossed over as a stage manager and people start hiring you as a stage manager, and that's kind of how it worked for me.
Yeah. I think the experience of getting way more credits than you need is not a rare one.
I don't think it's a bad one, to be honest.
Totally. Yeah.
Because you get to meet more people and,
Right on.
Yeah.
So at those full-time gigs, how would you describe the working environment? Like, was it a lot of work? Did you love every second of it? I mean, because you said there were things about stage management that you were good at and things you sucked at. So how did you balance that sort of dissonance?
I mean, I think I worked a lot. Like, I brought homework home, and I would, and there were, for me, my problem area, I don't know if there are any stage managers in the audience, but would be like, you do your rough blocking of a show, and that was fine. And then when you start to do more detailed work, and you realize, oh, I've only got this much room on my page to write all this new blocking, and then do I rip it out? And I could never kind of catch up when it got to that stage. And then, I loved prompting. I was like, if I could just prompt all day, I would just do that. And then, calling a show, I kind of loved it. It's just very focused and. But then sometimes the people stuff, I think I'm good with people, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care. Why is this now my problem? I really don't care. Mm-hmm. But you're not allowed to say that. Yeah. Or maybe you can. I just didn't think I could.
Now you can.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, there are certain times where, and it was very immersive, it was my whole life, right? And I kind of started feeling like it's a bit messed up. Where do I exist outside of theater? And I didn't know. So that's kind of where the trouble began for me.
Right.
I mean, I think I was a good designer. I think I was good at the job, good at shopping, good at, finding jeans that fit people. Jeez. But when it came down to it, it was. I don't think it was anything about the job itself that started to squeeze me out. I think it was outside forces, never enough money, never enough time. Budgets got whittled down from when I started, when the budgets are smaller than when you started the job 5 years ago.
That's tough.
It just becomes really, really impossible. And I think on the flip side, on the other side of that, designers were also, feeling that crunch too. Fees were probably not as high, so I didn't have designers as present. So I would find myself doing both jobs. When I was supposed to be just the head of wardrobe and building a show, I would find myself making a lot of the design decisions for an absentee designer. Sometimes through no fault of their own, they were just doing 1,000 different projects at once. But that was the thing that really started to get to me. Otherwise, I loved the work. I loved the job.
I especially starting at YPT, it's like a microcosm of a functioning society in a lot of ways, and because there's just such a presence of the people that you're serving all the time. If you ever get stressed out or worried or working too many hours, and you just go into the lobby, and all of a sudden there's 465 children coming out of a show, chatting and so excited. So it was very gratifying being there all the time. And all of the jobs that I've done have been really gratifying in terms of seeing the most work on the show or on the stage, and the people, and the same thing, the idea of coming together for opening night, and how we all have different roles to play in this huge process. So that is still there, and it wasn't like I was I'm out of here, theater, blah. It came close, but it was really. Sorry, we're done with you to another question, but essentially. An opportunity presented itself that I was interested in, and we'll get into that after. But I realized recently that I actually have no boundaries as a human being, which is one of my greatest strengths and also my greatest flaw. And so in all of that, and as I started working in organizations that were smaller and smaller with equally ambitious goals and vision, you just start jumping on all of the things that you see are oh, this person's doing too much, or oh, this person's just, or this thing is going to fall apart. And so that was the part that when you put it all together, all the things I love are still there, but much like you were saying, that it's that sort
it seems
of
like as well,
muddle.
as a general manager, as an administrator, you have the opportunity to see lots of
A
stuff
lot
to
of
do.
it. A lot of it.
And if you really like doing it, it would be
Yeah.
easy to give a lot.
And you're both, leading a staff to do the work for you in some ways, but you're also
Yeah.
supporting them in the work that they need to do. And when you see it across the board that everyone's trying to do so much with so little,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. That's the one like nagging thing, and the passion's still there, but
Yeah.
how
Can I
long does
add-
it last?
Sorry, I just
Yeah,
wanted to
please
add
do.
that the freelancing part is exciting, right? Like you can be sitting at home one day and someone will call you and say, "Are you free next month?" And you say yes, and you get to go do a touring show to, I don't know, Vancouver or something. And then conversely, you go, "Oh my God, after, in the next month, I have no work for the rest of my life." Like it's horrifying. Like I think as you get older too, you go like, I can't live like this. Like, I have my RSP.
Yeah.
Thank God I had it when I was like 5. And, but it's also exciting, right? Because sometimes like a company you've wanted to work with calls you up, and you go, I get to work there because I was home. I mean, now there's texts and it's a different world, but that was
Yeah.
my world back in the day.
Totally.
The voicemail.
Well, I think I've been there as well. Like, I've gotten the ability to go to China, for instance, with
Yeah.
the show. It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. And then I think it was last summer where it was just like, I did the contract, finished the contract up, and had like 2 weeks of work. It was great. And then like 2 days out was just staring at nothing.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing. And then for who knows how long, which is genuinely terrifying. And the appeal at that point of like a full-time, solid, like year-round, 2 weeks vacation, that kind of like just stability is amazing. So, but for Michelle, so you bought a franchise.
I did.
Which is gutsy, I would say.
And expensive.
Yeah. And on a scale of 1 to 10, terrifying?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because essentially, so you're, to buy a franchise, you're taking a part of a business, but you're starting your own business just with a little bit of a head start.
It's the best and worst parts of running your own business, but working for somebody else. So just to give a little bit of background, the reason I made the leap to be a dog trainer was because how old is my dog now? 5 years old. So I guess 3 or 4 years ago, we adopted a dog who was a shithead and was biting people, biting other dogs, la, 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 la. So we got a dog trainer in, and they showed us how to fix our dog, blah, blah, blah. I really liked doing it. So I'd filed it in the back of my head. I've got a bookmarks folder on my laptop, which is always called Maybe Someday. And it's where I file things that I find where it's like, maybe not right now, but maybe someday. So this went in the Maybe Someday file. I like doing this, maybe if this theater thing goes belly up, this is something I could do. And that was before I had a daughter. So Tarragon comes, this isn't even in the days pre-Tarragon, I think. And then I started the job at Tarragon, everything was great. Go away for a year, have a child, come back. It has a very different flavor. Suddenly I'm trying to balance all the same crazy hours and demands on my time and a baby at home and, just life in general, like doing laundry and shopping. And I thought, this can't continue. And it was also at the same point, my husband also works in theater, and our contracts would both end at the same time. So around...
Staring down 2 barrels of just nothing.
Of just under or straight up unemployment. So, that's okay when it's just the 2 of you, but suddenly when there's a mouth to feed, it's going, oh my God, what are we going to do? So something had to give. So I, made the call to the head office, was just like, hey, you know what? Tell me about this. I might be interested one day. And I'm thinking like months and months down the road, maybe even years down the road. And it just so happened that the Niagara region was for sale. And we'd been kind of looking for an excuse to get out of Toronto, because at that point, I sort of feel like Toronto is a young and single person's game or a wealthy person's game at some point, and at that point we were relatively neither of those things. So we decided we'd move to Hamilton, and it was, well, Kevin can attest to my head at that time and how it was back and forth, and he saw the whole thing from like beginning to end because he was my confidant, being down in the carp shop, and
We had coffee in the morning.
someone who I never clashed with at all. So, so I bought the business, and 6 months later, that's how I came to do that. But it was literally 6 months of loan applications, and I called it building my life raft. Like, I took the time and really did my research, applied for loans, got a business mentor. Like, I was fully supported. So by the time I made the leap, I was ready. But it was really, really scary to do that. And by the time I got the day I got the phone call saying I was approved for the loan, it was like it was like standing at the edge of a cliff going, okay, am I really doing this? Is this my life now? But best decision I ever made, actually, for me.
It sounds like there was a little bit of like background information, and then the stars kind of aligned.
Yeah, for the most part.
Preparation and opportunity,
Some of it
I
was
suppose.
some of it was preparation, and some of it was just things working out really well. Like, we happened to find a place to rent in Hamilton that was right by the GO station, so Dan could continue to commute into work. Like just things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just happens, and that's when you realize that the path is actually open, and you just need to go down it as long as it takes you.
Right on.
And I wonder sometimes, at least for me personally and in general, if the path is always there, you just don't see it.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Which is true. And I still don't even know. You'll have to find me 6 months from now to find it with path. But yeah.
What was it for? What gave you the kick to and yeah?
Well, it was actually a joke. My partner is also in theater, and
sort of,
and also in this room. And also made his own. He made his own sort of segue into a world that made more sense, where he could do the stuff that he wants to do and less of the stuff that he had to do to keep it all going.
He's an academic, by the way.
Yeah. He's an academic. So seeing that when we first, probably about a year after we got together, but also there was a couple times where I was just so exhausted and just so, and I kept seeing people as dog walkers in my neighborhood. And I was
Dog
like, you know what?
walkers
Fuck it. I think I just want to be a dog walker. And I didn't mean that in just want to be like, I was like, I actually think like if you ask me what would make me happy, seeing a dog is an instant joy for me beyond almost everything else.
Yeah.
And so I thought about it for a while, and I was like, well, I don't know. And Dave laughed at me because for 3 months, 4 months, he'd be like, that there's it's not theater in your current job or dog walking. There's a whole other different set of options in between. And I was like, yeah, okay, but I couldn't see it. And I in order to be able to work in theater administration and live in Toronto and have student loans, I waitressed for the first 5 years of my things on the side. So I also had that brain. I was like, okay, well, I can either be an arts administrator, a waitress, or a dog walker. That was what I had in my brain for the longest time. So I think, it's twofold. I had that sort of what if there's another world? I don't know crossover. I don't know about transferable skills. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. And it's hard because you're it's not just a job. It's and it's treated amongst all the people I respect as a life path, that this is what you choose, and it's very hard, especially with no boundaries, to figure out where it all ends. And so this current opportunity that I just started today was actually, someone called me who's a friend of a family friend, and said, I have a job that I think you'd be great at, totally outside of your field. And so we talked through it, and essentially it was something that she was redefining her team and knew what kind of skills she needed. And she's like, I've been through this for the last 10 years enough. And she'd grown with this company. And she said, I can find someone who has all of the things on paper that you would need, and the training would be shorter. She's like, but ultimately what I need is someone that this team will follow into battle. Like, I can't teach people skills.
Yeah.
So she's like, I feel like you're smart. You have strategy, you have all these things, but this is something that I can't teach in people, is just being a good person and wanting to see people do well and encouraging them to do that. So anyway, so I'm very lucky in that this opportunity thing that I decided to take it. I ended up getting the job as well. That was another step. Ultimately, it was all of the things I loved colliding with each other and realizing that the other thing I loved, which is this wonderful man, I never got to see anymore. So that was sort of the piece that was made it like, okay, well,
That'll do it.
I have to,
So this is almost too good a segue to pass up, and we're going to talk about transferable skills. But I actually want to hear Maria's. Like,
well, I'm going to have
kick?
the anti-romantic story, I guess. Yeah, you knew it. I tried to run away a few times from theater, and actually shortly after, maybe it was you, I don't know, the project we did, I was with someone. I said, look, you're a freelance musician. I'm a freelance stage manager. I want a family. I want a house. I don't see how we can do this. And you know what? I've been doing this for a long time. I'm totally happy to walk away. So I'm thinking, I'm going to go get an office job, and you can be freelance musician, and we'll build a little life together. Cool? And he was like, maybe my first time. But anyway, and so that was 2008, and some of you may recall that was the recession. And that was really not a great time to go, hey, I've never done office work, really. Like, I worked at my cousin's office once for like a month, and I'm going to just get an office job. And I went to, so I was like, I'm not taking stage management work, because that's the other thing, right? Like, you freelance, you're like, I'm not doing it, and then you get worried because you see the bank account going down, and somebody calls you and you go, okay, I'm doing it. And I was like, I'm not doing it. And so I didn't, and I had saved a bunch of money in the industrial portion of the project, and so that was supposed to be for down payment, but I basically lived off that essentially for a year. And I went to like a job finding club, I went to Human Resources Canada, and I met with a counselor there who I would say is not maybe very creative, because she couldn't really see it. She was like, yeah, I don't know what to suggest. Anyway, and then I ended up, Access is a program, like a job finding, very similar to Human Resources Canada, run through the United Way. And so I ended up going there, and I met with a career counselor, and she helped me tweak my resume. And then she said, I think you should work with one of our job developers. And so I met with one of the job developers, and he was like, okay, so where do you come from? What do you want to do? And, and it was kind of like, well, really, I just want to do anything. I just want 9 to 5. And anyway, so we were talking, and then I don't even know how it happened, but he basically found an opportunity. This organization that I work in now had an office admin person who worked part-time. And they were like, okay, you really need to show up on Wednesdays. And she was like, yeah. And then they wouldn't see her for like a week. And they were like, no, you really need to show up. And then she'd be gone for and then she just never came again. And so somehow that my company hooked up with this job developer. And he said, I think I have someone. And he was like, go meet with them. And the president thought it was fantastic that I came from a creative background. And he was like, we need creative people. And the executive director was like, okay, can you print labels? And I was like, sure.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
I'll just Google it. And I was petrified. So I got the job, and I was petrified. I was like, I don't know how to be normal. I'm working with scientists, and I swear too much. And so I basically ironed all my clothes, and so I had a new wardrobe to go to work. And I just thought, just be normal. And then you realize people are people, really.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, my sweetie and I broke up. And he wasn't really into my plan, which I think I kind of knew, but I ignored. And this would be another thing I would recommend. Like, I think most of you are younger than I am, that I think at different points throughout my career, there were possibly other roads that were open to me that I dismissed, partly because I thought, well, I can't do anything else. This is what I do. Like, I don't know how to waitress. I don't have strong enough arms. Like, I can't work in an office. I don't know how to make labels, right? So I kept, like, not seeing opportunities. And, like, you know, this woman asked me, like, I have a real estate company. I think you'd be great. Do you want to, like, work with me? And I was like, oh, no, I'm no. And I didn't even consider it. And now I'm like, oh my God, I could have been in real estate in like 1990. What was I thinking? God. So I just say like that there are weird opportunities out there, and that if you kind of dismiss them because you're in this like tunnel vision, you'll look back later and go, oh, that was an opportunity. Yeah. But anyway, I've been there 5 years, and you know, it's different, but it's good. Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, like 9 to 5, like I'm older now, and I don't like lifting heavy shit all the time by myself downstairs in the dark, and I don't have to do that. Well, sometimes I have to lift boxes full of crap, but yeah, it's much easier on my body and my soul. Like there's a kind of a weight of like, I'm getting older, I'm like one slip disc away from ruin, you know, freelancing. So this kind of eases my soul a bit.
There's something comforting about, 9 to 5. Like, okay, we'll get done. Yeah.
Hey there, it's me, Michael Kruse, your host, interrupting briefly again to thank those of you who have chosen to support the title block on patreon.com. I really enjoy doing the show, and I'm not going to stop while I have the time, but it does cost a bit to do the show between equipment and web hosting, not to mention extra mic rentals and maybe travel in the future to ensure that special events like the Bellows sound as best as I can make them. So I'm asking that you help to cover those costs and help me to continue to capture the story of Canadian theatre design. Go to patreon.com/the Title Block Podcast and donate a couple bucks an episode. It really helps. Now, back to the panel discussion on the Bellows, Leaving the Business, with moderator Kevin Hutson and guests Maria Costa, Michelle Bailey, and Katie Pounder.
So, I mean, transferable skills is where we were headed. I mean, for me, it's easy. A carpenter is kind of a carpenter. I mean, there's lots of stuff I don't know. I don't know how to form concrete, for instance, but I can figure it out. Otherwise, you just screw plywood together, make shapes, and you pour stuff in it. It's fine. So, I mean, and
you've clearly never poured plywood.
No. I have a couple times, but
don't stand on his bridge.
No, do not. Unless I'm made of wood, because I understand that.
Yeah.
Concrete's actually really difficult. Anyway, it's very complex, but it cures underwater, which is pretty impressive. Administration is. Seems like it would be like a kind of knock it out of the park, like a no-brainer. Like, no, I can run this office. Yeah. Do you go in there guns blazing? You're just like, what? I got this.
No, because I wasn't. The good thing about it was that when I went into the interview, the hardest part was actually redoing my resume. I didn't obviously I had to add the current job on it, and it wasn't about changing anything except for how I communicated about myself and the type of things that I did. Because I realized when I looked at it, I was like, okay, well, this got me the job at Tapestry, and blah, blah, blah. And then I looked at it and I was like, no one knows what CAEA is. No one knows what CTA. Like, we talk in so many acronyms, and I've learned already in the new job, they totally do too. They're just totally different acronyms. But that whole idea of taking the arts soul focused out of it. So what am I actually saying in this line? What does that mean to someone who is looking for this in a person? So that was a really good exercise. It was a long exercise. And the cover letter was equally, but the thing they liked about me was that I was passionate about what I was talking about. They did ask me in my interview, are you sure that you want to leave the arts? Because the way you talk about it, your whole face lights up. And I was like, no, I'm not actually sure, but I'm totally open to something new, and there's parts that I'd be really excited about in this sort of atmosphere. So I think yes, it's much more easily thought of as transferable because you're still in an office. Yeah. But there was quite a few steps to actually make it.
Yeah.
So,
And it's about selling yourself at that point.
Yeah.
And they don't know you. Then,
yeah. But the good thing about it was that because wasn't like, I need this job so much to get out of here. Like it was like, okay, well, what is this? And so I went in interviewing them as much as they were interviewing me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't want to go work in a place that I can't be me in. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to be me. And I flubbed a lot of it in the interview, but because that's me. So at least I know that if it's going to be a fit, it's an actual fit as opposed to me trying to like squeeze myself into some corporate box.
Does that feel like a position of strength? Like for any time I've applied for a job out of another job, like if I had a gig and I go to a place, it's like I'm thinking about whether that's an upgrade as opposed to, and that feels like it's comforting.
And it comes across, like I've interviewed enough people that it totally comes across because it's about whether or not, it's like, it's a mutual thing. It's a relationship. You're forming a relationship, right? And there's so often that we're just like, I'll do anything. And especially in theater, like, I don't care. I just want to be here where the art is. So yeah, I think it's totally a luxury to be able to have that.
Yep.
I worked for that luxury, but it's still a luxury to be able to have that. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, you mentioned people skills earlier.
Yeah.
Transferable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that's what I'm most excited about this job, actually, is that like all of the things that have been really hard in the last few gigs and few seasons that I've been part of, where we're trying to do so much and come out of a sort of deficit or whatever, and really inspiring, like incredible work and an awesome team. So I'm still sad about all of the stuff that isn't there, but the hardest part has been not feeling like I can take care of the people that are doing it with me in the way that I would like to. That's really important to me, beyond the art itself. Like my definitions of success are totally different than like an artistic director's per se.
Yeah.
But this job is about like strategy and finding ways to like not only make my team do the best work possible, and ultimately it's so that universities make more money. Like, it's still for that corporate goal, but if I do it well, people will graduate all the way down the line.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's
nice.
like a nice way to look at it.
That's very nice.
Yeah. But it is like, essentially they were really interested in, I couldn't give any examples that were specific to their industry, but they're looking for, okay, well, how are you able to get a team to do something? And like, when I joined Tapestry specifically, we were coming through a big transition and rebuilt a team from sort of nowhere, and credit's all theirs, it's not mine, but it's what we did together that we sort of rebuilt a place.
Awesome. Dog training. How many performer discipline jokes can we fit into the next 10 minutes?
Well, bless your heart if you think that a misbehaving puppy is any different than trying to get an actor to wear something they don't want to wear. One. All right.
One.
I don't know.
But presumably
there's
you're
a
dealing
lot.
with, I mean, so obviously you're training dogs in theory, but presumably you're dealing with the people who are dealing with the dogs as well.
That's really it. That was the thing I was told when I first got into touch with this company, was that if you want to just train dogs, be a dog walker. If you want to just deal with dogs alone, this is about teaching people. And in a lot of ways, like, I'm a behavioral therapist for dogs, but in a lot of ways I feel like a therapist for people, because there is something about a misbehaving dog in the house that just sends people into a spiral. I feel like a marriage counselor sometimes.
It's a lack of control, right? Like if they
it's
don't
a
know
lack
what
of
to do,
control over something, over a member of the family. So that is... So, yeah, I do a lot of listening, a lot of understanding, a lot of smiling when I don't feel like smiling. And I find, and I was saying this earlier in a discussion with somebody, that we in theater, I don't think we realize the skill we really have in this industry of diffusing tense situations, of working through, listening, finding the common ground, finding the time, finding the money, like just finding a way to do it. And that is, I think, the biggest thing I've really brought to this job. And managing a budget, because I run my own business. That's the other thing. A
Yeah.
lot of my fellow trainers were absolutely lost on the business side of it, because that's the two sides of the coin I deal with. Like, I'm a dog trainer on one side, but I'm also a business owner on the other side. And that was no problem for me.
That's cool to hear. Cause,
Yeah.
managing budgets is not necessarily in my purview.
Yeah,
And
but
like business management is really scary
Right,
as well.
but if you've done any production management, if you've been head of department anywhere, like, that stuff comes pretty easily. Even if you've just had, been designing and building your own show, you got to manage your own budget. So.
Yeah.
There you go.
This is a bit of a sidebar, but I wanted to say that if you go into an interview or you're just schmoozing with somebody in a different industry, that like I've done a lot of job finding clubs and things like that. It's a hobby. And one of the things, they always call it different acronyms, but like SCAR, right? Situation, challenge, action, result. That it's a good idea to think about the different projects you've worked on in theater and think, like, what was a challenging situation and how did I take action and what was the result, right? And I think people in other industries go, oh, yeah, you can totally come work for me, right? Like, I think they go, oh, you're just like me. And then I think in terms of transferable skills, I think, working with directors and actors, like, I could kind of see sometimes, like, what does this person need? Like, so I work in a small office, but I go, okay, this person loses shit all the time. So when I give them this contract, I'm going to have the copy here, and when they put things in the shared drive in the wrong place, I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in the right place and I'm going to lock them. So like, you have the chaos people, and sometimes I'm one of those chaos people, but like I find like there's always that stage manager that kind of does the overview of the people and go, okay, what do they need? Like, what do we need to make this organization work optimally, right? And so, like, I got to manage the toner situation and all that kind of stuff, which, is very stage managey. You got to have sharpened pencils every day. And so some of that is very kind of easy. And people do appreciate it, and then they don't. And, then I get bitter. And but I would say that...
So it's not different.
Yeah, no, it's not different. That what is different is I used to think I was very nice. And I think partly because I freelance. So, you work in a theater and you think, well, I want to work here again. So you don't say, well, this policy is stupid, right? But now that I've been there 5 years, I say shit and I scare my coworkers sometimes when they break the printer. And I am a bit meaner than I used to be when I freelance, just because I feel comfortable, which I don't recommend. But it's just something I've noticed about how, like, maybe I was always ragey, but I just bottled it. But now, so that's not really a transferable skill. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
But I think basically,
it's a great transfer.
Watching the people and just kind of going, okay, this area of our organization is a mess. Can I, or it's not functioning well, can I help make it run better? And I kind of get off on that. Like, I don't know, it's a weird thing, but I love finding like a cheaper teleconferencing system. Like, I save the organization $300 every time they teleconference, and I'm like, I'm pleased with myself for that, because I like talk to all these different people. Anyway, it's, whatever floats your boat, and that floats my boat.
For sure.
But I also wanted to add that, my job, like, it's hard in terms of, I feel like I did lose a community a little bit. Like, I still have friends that I love from my theater days, but it's harder to kind of get together. And so I did I struggle sometimes with, like, where are my people, Like, you were talking about how when you first walked in, you were like, these are my people. That I find, like, I work in an office, and radiation safety is very important, don't get me wrong, but it's not my passion, right? And so I find now, like, I go to these community meetings. There's like a thing in my neighborhood that people are like incensed about, and I go to these meetings, and and I just kind of work with the group, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put together a schedule for like the different events we have to partake in. I'm going to put together a contact list, and I just do that because that's what I did for 20 years. And so the advocacy part of the neighborhood, and and I volunteer because I think I left theater to do more me things, so I got to start, right? So it does, like, I have maybe less purpose in work now, but I find in my personal life there's a bit more purpose, which is nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a little more about that, actually.
Okay, to be continued.
Purpose in work is really interesting because that's sort of a well-phrased way to, I think, talk about a lot of people's theater experience.
Yeah.
Where, you're only able to do this one thing. It happens to be a very rewarding thing, and it's pretty easy to get lost in that environment.
Agreed.
And sort of one of the things that started to seduce me when I was a technician particularly was the idea of, because I was working evenings all the time, so bands would come to town and I'd be like, well, I'm not seeing that because I'm working. And just the idea of, purpose outside of work. Like what is the purpose of work is, make you money so you can go see these shows. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, well, I am what I do.
Yeah, and I was very much, I am what I do, and it's like, I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to have a family, and that's going to be my thing, and then it didn't happen. So it was like, oh, shit, I don't have the family, I don't have the relationship, I don't have the career. Like, it was really, it was quite shocking to be at this point in my life and go, oh, I did not see being here at this point. Like, it really sideswiped me, I have to say. So I feel like I'm just starting to, well, maybe not just starting, but I'm coming through that and going, okay, like, I got to be happy with me because I'm walking, with myself every day. So what makes me happy? And, and I don't want to be working 60 hours a week in theater for scale, a G house, like with the rats or like I can't do it anymore.
There's no rats in theater.
No, there's no rats in theater. Don't go to
no, that's true. That was the old days before fumigators and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, especially because 60-hour weeks, I mean, they're survivable, but they put off those questions.
Yeah.
That sort of self-reflection that, people might find boring. Maybe this is just for us, but like that kind of just figuring out what it is that you want to do. If you're only able to do the one thing, you're not able to explore other things.
And I was like 20 forever, and then all of a sudden I was like 45, and I went, what the hell? Like, I don't know how that happened, but it'll happen. That's all I have to say.
Amazing. One of the questions I had on here that I think you answered was, like, which of those transferable skills comes directly from theater? Because you mentioned sort of, I might want to say conflict resolution, but more diffusing the tension.
Bomb diffusing.
Yeah, bomb diffusing.
That's really it.
And other than being a FBI agent, do you think you could get those sort of skills from anywhere else?
Not to the same extent, I don't think. It's not the kind of thing you learn in like a weekend team building seminar kind of thing. It's what you learn from really being in the shit. What you learn from those 60-hour weeks and all the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah, through just repetition and experience. You can't teach it in a way. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of other industries or sectors or types of jobs where you have, there's lots of different people who do more than one thing in theater, but in terms of the roles of bringing this show from the person who wrote it to the thing at the end, it's hard to think of teams that are that diverse in terms of what they actually do for the common goal. So I think it affords something extra beyond many other opportunities.
Well, I think that it's interesting you should say it that way, because I think the thing that theater has unique to it is that the team is always changing.
Yeah.
In a lot of other jobs, you're working with the same people, accomplishing, not always the same thing, but it's the same group of people. Whereas this, it's always, a different island of misfit toys. So that's what we learn to work with.
And I think there's a certain level of trust that, I just look back and there were certain crazy situations, like the bailiff came on our first 10 out of 12 and we were locked out of the theater, right? Like, that was nuts. And somehow we moved the show to another theater, and then the bailiff cut the locks and we moved back, and the show opened, on time. And so I start this new job and the president lost this big report, like big. He said it disappeared from his computer and it was gone. And so we had a third-party IT person, and he was spinning, he was losing his mind, but somehow I thought, he'll find something. Like, he'll find the second last draft, and like, it's going to be fine. Like, no one is going to die. And like, I'm sure if you were a surgeon, you would have that experience in other situations. You'd be like,
fair.
Nobody's going to die. We're good here. Like, you can be stressed out, but we're going to be okay. And so I find being in an office that there's that adrenaline in theater, right? There's never enough time. There's never enough money. Like, there's a new scene on preview. Like, it's always exciting all the time. And you just trust that we're going to have something to show people. They might hate it, but it's going to be something, and we'll all get by. And so I find taking that to the office is good. Like, mind you, I do get a bit flappy about certain things, but generally I trust that, this situation, this person is upset about something, and I feel like I'm really good at customer service. Like, I feel like everybody is my client, and because I feel like as a stage manager, everybody's my client in a way, and so I find that transferable skill is really good. Like, I can just be like, I hear you, I understand you're upset, I apologize, and okay, so here's what we can do for you, and people seem to respond to that, and so that's good to always keep under your hat.
Not to bring it down, what do you miss?
Personally, I miss having a workplace because I work alone. I work from a home office. And to be sure, I have a fantastic network of fellow trainers who are super supportive and just a phone call away, and we all really, band together. But going into a brick and mortar workplace and talking to people, because there are some days where I will spend way too much time in my own head, way too much time alone.
Right. It's your first day on
I
the
have
gig.
no idea. I'm gonna pontificate and figure out what I might miss. I know I'm gonna miss my last week 20-minute walk to work, because we were really close to that, because I now have to go to the Finch and the 404, which is obviously the part of going to the corporate world that's different. But as my partner kindly pointed out, that if I leave the office in my new place at 5:30, I'll be home by 7. When was the last time I was ever home at 7? Which is very true. So for that I would. But I actually, the part that makes it crazy is also bits that I'm gonna miss, and that it is different, and that there is new people all the time, or really great people. There's also incredibly gifted people who do incredibly wonderful, magical things with almost nothing all the time. And so that's really inspiring to be around, and I will miss that. But I just think that it's about keeping the personal part.
Podcast.
No. I think it's about for me right now, it's about, okay, I have no boundaries, so let's find a place that naturally has them. But also keeping the balance between what fuels you versus drains you. And even if it's only 50-50 part of the time, that's okay. But when it's, draining more than it's fueling, you start to resent the stuff that you used to be inspired by. Yeah. And so I don't think I was ever fully there, but I can totally see that, and I'm happy to get some new skills, and maybe I'll bring them back to theater.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I think I mentioned earlier community, and I find like working on a show, like I always have a crush, be it, man, woman, child. Like there's just somebody that I love, and it's like, I want you to be my new best friend, right? And so I kind of amass, my darlings. And then, so that's fewer and far between now, because I don't kind of, run into all these new people all the time. And so it's kind of, it's sad, but the Facebook is nice, so I still see people. Yeah. And I do actually still work the Doras. So if you're only going to work one day a year in theater, the Doras is the best day to do it. But it's also kind of sad because, like, all the nominees get read, and I'm like, I don't know who's this person? And they're all, like, and when I was working at Humber, I would know kind of the up-and-comers. And now I don't know anybody. And I was saying to the production manager, okay, like the year John Kaplan does not present Adora is the year I'm out. And she's like, actually, Susan Cole is presenting one this year. He's not doing it. And I'm like, oh, shit. Good thing I'm not a woman of my word, and I'm going to do it anyway. But it's weird because I feel kind of a bit like an outsider. And there was YPT had its 50th anniversary, last month. And I went and I was excited because I saw some people, I saw when I was apprenticing and it was exciting, but I was weepy the whole time because I was like, and someone, in theater community had passed away like 2 weeks before. And I just kind of was feeling like that chapter is gone and that sort of like these people that I bonded with, like, when will I ever see them again? Will I see them at someone's funeral? Like I was getting very sad about it and just feeling like, yeah, that magic of these people, because you do bond. You're like in the dark in a beautiful summer day or spring day, for 12 hours, and crazy stuff goes on. And you just, like, you have some good stories after every show. And so, yeah, it's that kind of adventure and just the bonding with people. Like, I bond with my coworkers, but, like, I don't bond when some, like, kid pulls a fire alarm on our last matinee at YPT. Like, you bond during that stuff because it's so nuts, right? And you have to get 400 kids back into a theater. Like, that kind of stuff is awesome, and you don't have those kind of adventures and those interactions as much.
As much. I think to add a note of hope. I feel
That's
like
my
this
job.
is really depressing. Not only did I leave theater, but I also left Toronto, and that was sort of a double blow for me. Going, I'm moving to a new place. Like we had a few friends there because I feel like Hamilton's next. Everyone's moving there, but I didn't have like my tribe there, and I feel that those people are still going, like, your friends are your friends, they're gonna stick around. Like, I still see this Joker all the time, and and everyone else, even people that have moved to other cities and what have you. So I think that's what I was really, really worried about when I left is this it? Am I just never gonna see these people? And granted, not every day, but still enough. And Facebook is such a great thing now. I don't think I could have done this even, 10 years ago when it wasn't so much a thing.
And I think I used to see theater too. Like when I worked in theater, I'd hear like, oh, this show's awesome, you have to go see it. And I'm less in tune, right? And like Facebook,
Are you more prone to see theater though? Because I don't see
Well, I was like, go through periods when I worked where like on my day off, I'd go see a show because like, this is my only chance. And and then I'd go through periods where I'm like, oh, I'm not going anywhere near a theater. And and now I may be more apt to go see an opera or like kind of refine my palette a bit more. But I kind of miss being in the know, like this is the one to go see. Like this actor will make you weep, and sometimes I'll catch things.
Claire Falter, she'll make you weep.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm not as in tune, and being kind of, I don't know, like a hipster. Like I've never was a hipster, but being part of a scene, right? Like a cultural scene.
Yeah.
Like I felt kind of cool. Like I'm a cool person, so I'd go to a party and I'd be like, I work in theater. People would be like, oh, whatever. But I always thought, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm like,
I just realized that I don't qualify for arts worker tickets anymore.
lie. We'll never know.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like I've put enough time in that I should for perpetuity.
You kept some business cards as well.
Yeah. That's true. I've got lots of business cards, but
For sure.
yeah, no, I just thought about that right now. It's a new thought. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen theater in a long time, which is sad because I feel like I need to see theater in order to keep liking theater. Yeah. To be honest, to be on the other side of the curtain is really great. And that was one of the things that, like, I always just wanted to go see stuff and not know how the tricks were done anymore. To be a bit of an outsider seems kind of exciting in a weird way.
Though.
No, you can't go back. You can't go back. Once you've been behind the curtain, it's all over. It's all over. Do you all still feel like you support the arts at all?
I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah. Well, okay. Thanks very much, then. Good night. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like do more. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I do, like, every once in a while I'll alternate a subscription, and whether, like, it was the art gallery for a while, so it wasn't theater directly.
Because I bumped into you at the art gallery.
What's that?
We bumped
That's
into each
right,
other
I
at the art
know.
gallery.
And
Yeah,
we were like geeking out at some like book fair, like which I think is great. You get to kind of foster these other parts of yourself. Yeah, and I think at different points I think, oh yeah, if I get some more money, maybe I'll get some subscriptions, and I never do. Like, you know, I end up buying light fixtures instead. But yeah, no, it is interesting. I'd like to figure out how to do more of it, but
Right.
yeah, I still like the arts for sure in theater.
I feel like I've been following things more closely than I did. You know, you used to be like my shows and what I'm working on, and like maybe I'll catch something, but I keep my finger a little more on the pulse now, just because I'm not directly a part of it.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'm hoping, and I think that I'll actually, in smaller doses, have more to offer, actually.
Yeah.
So I may,
That's interesting.
I've been asked to join a board, actually.
That's
So,
exciting.
but that's the sort of thing that I can still, like, then I'm not throwing away a bunch of skills that may not be exactly transferable. So
Right.
it's nice to be able to think in that way. And, like, I care deeply not only about the type of work that each of the places that I've worked at do, but also the people who bring that to life. So
Right.
I don't let go of things very easily, which is because I don't have boundaries. So like I'll still be around. I don't think I'm going anywhere necessarily, but the plan is to not be around so much in the whole grand scheme of things. Like,
Right.
yeah.
I think that's a good point, because when I left, I decided I need a good long break, and
Yeah.
that was a very, very healthy thing. And so I should say I keep my finger on the pulse, but it's only been in the last 6 months or so where I've finally gone, okay, yeah, we can be friends again. It's like being friends with an ex, you know, you need a good long break first.
Yeah.
And I find I can watch a show and get more into the story than I could before. And every once in a while I think, oh, is the problem the costume? Like, what's going on? Like, why is this scene not, you know, like there's still a bit of that.
Pick it up.
But I can get kind of wrapped in the story a bit more. And, you know, like I saw Robert Lepage's show last year, 228 or something.
Yeah.
And it was a real kind of mix of theater and cinematography. And like, it was really mixed media. Like, it was just really interesting. Like, this industry, like, there's so much potential for it to change, and it, you know, and you still have like the one-hander show, and so it's kind of exciting still. Like, you know, you can go and go, yeah, just like the magic of it is kind of back for me, which is nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think it gives you a different perspective on the work.
Like I still watch for like, somebody doesn't know the lines, and there's part of me that like, that must have been a bitch to call or something, you know. And if I see someone I know after the show, and they'll, you know, like especially if they've just opened, you know, they still got their war stories, right? And it's kind of fun to hear. And then every once I'm like, okay, good night, see ya. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Awesome. I'm almost out of questions. I think this is really. Is anybody else wanting to know anything about what's going on outside of the theater world? Has anybody actually quit since we? Yeah, go for it.
We talked a little bit about it, but I was curious about re-education in more formal sense. I don't think any of you went back to school, but as far as job training, getting mentors, clubs, things like that, I'm potentially looking at another 4-year degree, which is scaring the bejesus out of me. But just re-education in general, formal or informal. What was your experience with that, and or the hurdles or welcome things?
That was the one thing that was like before this job possible opportunity presented itself, that like I actually was like, I think I want to work in HR more, and I think I want to I think that's actually what my skills are. I don't know if this is the best, I don't need to be the person at the top telling everyone what to do. I think I actually want to be supporting people from around. And that was the one terrifying part, was because I already went to school, and then I went back to school and did a post-grad. I still have student loans. I just was like, I'm 36. I don't want to be doing this forever. So I'm lucky in that way, that I'm able to try and test something out without having to do that. I may still decide I want to do that. I think it's just about, like, you approach things differently when you're not 20 or 22 and looking at it. So talking to someone in it to be like, do I need this in order to get to this job or in order to get to this type of work? And can I do it in terms of financial stability, like the cost versus gain of it all? If there is a way to sort of sidestep into the, maybe not the job you want, but the job that may lead to the job that you want, and that sort of like longer game might work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on what's going on in your life. I'm right now at this moment in time, I'm glad that I didn't have to do that because I'm not, didn't want to go back to student brain, but if it was something I really cared about and was really, really interested in, I think I would have considered that.
Yeah. I think for me anyway, I mean, it's a question of the things I want to do require tickets and qualifications and certificates rather than degrees, you know what I mean? Like I could go get a welding ticket and that would take me a little while. And that obviously seems worth it because that's a qualification I need. Whereas for an extra degree, like, I think that's a question that you would probably be better answering for yourself, to be honest. Like, just, I don't mean to be meta or ridiculous, but like if it's the path you think you need, like all the experience you've built thus far is not wasted. It's never wasted. So like if that's the way you want to get to there, then go for it. But there may also be another way you can sort of work 2 steps sideways and find another path to go in.
I think that's really true because I looked into, after I actually desperately tried to stay in theater, like I applied for every upper level wardrobe job I could find, and decided, and I think I've said this charmingly, that I couldn't wait around for somebody to retire or die again because the next step up for me was like, I wanted to do Shaw or Stratford, and those jobs weren't coming up anymore. So I thought, okay, do I retrain? Do I retrain for something? And thought, animals, okay, vet tech, that's at least another 4 years, depending on where you go. Do I want to actually be a vet? Do I want to go back to med school? Do I want to do the science degree? All that. And at this point in my life, like I kind of think if you've got, kids or a ton of debt or, lots of financial strain, then maybe there's another way to find a way to get where you're going without having to retrain. Because keep in mind that another degree or another diploma is not necessarily a guarantee of anything, and you could get halfway through a degree or diploma and go, fuck this, this sucks. So I think that's where I decided what's the path, not the path of least resistance, but what's the easiest way to get what I want to do. And for me, it was, 3 weeks of intensive training out at a facility at West.
I think for me, like, I haven't known what I want to do. What do I want to be when I grow up? And so, like, I dabbled, like, I got my 9-to-5 job, and I was like, I'm going to go back to school. And so the first class I took was a records management course. It was not good. Like, I was like, oh, this is boring, and I don't want to be boring. Like, so I was like, okay, so that's, and then I tried volunteer management. That was interesting, and I kind of dropped that. And then my employer had a brilliant idea that I should get some HR training, and so they paid for me to take HR, and that was good, and I'm a dropper. I dropped that. And then I started taking professional communications, and I liked that, some writing classes, and then I decided, oh, you know what, I'm going to take a fiction writing class, because that's what I like. And so I've done some of that, and so that kind of satisfies my brain. Like I want to keep learning, really. But I don't know, like in terms of, like I want to be invested in what I do for a living, and I'm not quite there yet. Sorry, Institute. But I went to see a job developer. I threw some money at it, and I said, look, here's what I need from you. I need you to not be practical, right? Like, I know I have a diploma from a college. Like, people like BAs, MAs, that kind of stuff, PhDs, and I don't have that. So I feel like that's a bit of a barrier sometimes to transferable skills. And so I said, I don't want you to be practical. Like, I just want us to look at, my aptitude testing and just like see what's out there, and I'll figure out how I'm going to make that happen. And unfortunately, she's very pragmatic. And so I think we're at a crossroads, and I'm afraid to break up with her. But I think I really need to break up with her because I need to, I'm older. I need to know, I need to be invested in my work, and I'm not there yet. So I have some ideas. I'm getting closer. I'm scared to go back to school, and I don't want to go into, I bought a place, which is nice. It's this big. But, I don't want to add more debt onto that. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe I should trust the universe that the answer will come. But, I haven't known kind of what I want to do. And is there a shortcut that doesn't require years of training to get there? So I don't know. Good luck. Maybe there is a course. There's so many certificate courses, and there's so many colleges and universities merging programs together that maybe you can get a certificate and then work towards, your MA or your letters after your name, over a longer period of time. And I don't know.
Are you good at school? Because I'm not good at school.
I was not good at school.
Yeah.
I passed everything.
Right.
I'm smart for school, but I'm not. I was the one that calculated if I hand in this essay 3 weeks late and take 20% off, then I still got 65 on all my essays that were 95s when I wrote them. Yeah. But I was that person. D is for degree. That was good, Ryerson. So the fact that going back to school doesn't entirely terrify me with this specific program. I'm a sign language interpreter for fun.
Yeah.
Is saying enough for me, I think, that maybe it's not so bad. But I was just curious at everyone's experience.
Well, that's something that you can't fudge. You have to. Right? You can't be oh, this totally works because I did a show that had sign language in it. But
I think you could fudge it. I mean, if you knew the language.
Maybe not to the people. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
It's not that you need the training, but you need to be able the skills that you can get in that training.
Yeah, for sure. That's tough. That's a tough one, actually.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
But
they just turned it into a degree program this year.
Oh.
It was a 3-year program last year.
That's a dirty trick.
And then added $5,000 a year to the scholarship.
Yeah.
I'm so angry.
I know they have note takers, like George Brown, which has an ASL course.
Yeah, George Brown's.
And so I don't know, if that's kind of a gateway to work with someone and be their assistant in class and take notes for them. Do you know what I mean? So then you can kind of start dabbling in that world and then see if it's a world you want to pursue.
Mm-hmm. Can I just offer the best advice I've ever gotten? And I don't necessarily, I've followed it through, but it really, because I've seen so many job applications come in, if it's something about a job you want as opposed to a new field, that most job postings that they, when they advertise for it, they'll actually give the qualifications of the person who's leaving the job as opposed to what they had when they came into it. And so never use that as a reason not to apply for a job. And also take your time with the cover letter. I've seen so many people, and no offense, but almost every technical theater person is the worst at this. It's the time that when someone goes, oh, why should I hire them? You tell them why they should hire you. And you say, if there's a big gap in your resume, point it out and explain why you have these transferable skills. That's what people read first. That's whether or not you get an interview. Unless there's a bunch of really amazing cover letters, you're not going to get it. Anyways.
And if you don't want to apply for jobs, just make your own.
That's true.
There you go.
That's true.
So that's exactly what I feel like my fellow panelists have a lot more transferable skills than I did. Nobody wants to hire a wardrobe person for anything in the outside world.
I don't believe her at all.
Unlike the other jobs open to you are seamstress and industrial serger operator. That's really it from a very extensive search. Unless you want to go back to fashion school or what have you, which I personally did not. But so the other option is if the job doesn't exist, create it.
Yeah. Amen.
Because I refuse to just get a job, any job. I wanted to still do something that mattered very much to me. And earlier today, I trained a dog who was going to be put down. This dog was going to die if someone didn't come in and help this person with it. So that was very fulfilling for me and continues to be so.
Fantastic. So excellent question. Anybody else? No? Probably wrap it up then.
Michelle, what's the comparison coming from being in Toronto? And obviously, a lot of people you mentioned are moving from the cultural scene in Toronto to Hamilton just because it's so much more affordable.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, aside from what you mentioned, the adjustment from a social environment, but what's it like living there?
Hamilton has a refreshing lack of hipsters. As I said, the Hamilton hipster is outnumbered immensely by the Hamilton dirtbag. That's not to say that the hipsters aren't coming. They are. But right now I feel like Hamilton is a bit untouched. Like the art scene is just starting to emerge there, so it's a really, really great place to be right now. And I've actually found myself getting a little bit more involved with just the Hamilton art scene, like joining Facebook pages, like knowing what's going on, going to little events here and there. So it is definitely a good place to be. Keep your eye on it.
There's a lot of coffee shops. There's like
a lot of coffee shops.
Lousy with coffee shops.
There's great craft beer. There is,
Taco joints and stuff
there's,
too.
oh yeah. Oh, the food. Forget about it. There's everything you need.
Great.
Can't hail cabs though. That's
Oh, weird.
not the greatest. You can call them. You just
Right.
can't.
Blue.
Just hit 7 until a cab arrives. That's all you have to do.
All right, then. Anybody else? Thank you all for coming. Yay. I think we...
That was the Bellows on Leaving the Business. Next time, designer Britta Garricky talks about her life in Edmonton, Stratford, and now London, England as a designer. The music for this podcast is by Vern Good with voiceover by Gabriel Cropley. Please go to iTunes and give us a review. It'll help get the word out about this podcast and share the history of theatre design in Canada. And you can follow us on Twitter at ThetitleBlockCA and on Facebook.com/The Title Block Podcast. You can send comments and requests by email to thetitleBlock@gmail.com. And don't forget that if you like the show, please support us on Patreon.com. Feel free to share this with your friends, colleagues, students, and teachers, or listen to it while you try to make your resume pop, while you sit through another production meeting trying to decide what to cut to stay under budget. I'm Michael Kruse, and I'll see you next time on The Title Block.